the next thing we're going to look at is colors. And a lot of people really don't put a lot of thought into the colors that they use on their cover, but you really need to, because the colors do a lot of different functions. For one, they convey feelings. Let me just, okay. So, and let's take a look at that. So these are all books on stress, and you'll notice that all of these books have these soothing kind of calm colors, these two in particular. This one I really love because it's just a title and the colors are doing all the work here on conveying the calmness, right? So, and you know, so, and this can be used in a lot of ways. If you're doing an action book, you know, you might have brighter colors, you know, and if you're doing a children's book, you'll have a lot of colors. So the colors can really, you know, convey kind of an emotion or feeling that you want them to have. It can convey the themes. So if you're doing like a fiction book, as we see in these young adult romance vampire books, we see a lot of black, we see a lot of red, which of course makes sense because vampires are gothic, which is usually black, and they drink blood, or there's, you know, roses, which are red. So we tend to see these colors used primarily in this genre, and then a lot of books throw in some purple or another color just to create a bit of distinction for their brand. They convey association. So people have certain associations to certain colors, and particularly when you're writing to a particular subset. So for example, well, let's give you some examples. I was going to use some US political books here, but I found they were kind of polarizing, so I went to Canadian ones instead. And right off the bat, I found this, and you may not know it, but these are the colors of our three predominant political parties. These two books that are pro-government right now are red, which is the same as our government in power. The Liberals have, or their color is red. This other one, which is more critical, is blue, which is the color of our, you know, the opposition right-wing party, the Conservatives. And orange is actually the color of our left-wing party. Now, whether this was intentional or not, I don't, and you know, I can't say for sure. But just the fact that these books, which are all about politics to a degree, have these colors immediately and subconsciously suggest to the reader that this is probably going to be a liberal supportive, and this one's probably going to be conservative supportive, and this one's probably going to be more of a left-wing viewpoint. You know, just because we already have those associations with these political parties, and that's their coloring. Another example here, if you're doing a book about police, they tend to be blue. Why? Because blue is the predominant color we subconsciously associate with police. Now, not all police wear blue, but it, you know, because that's a color that's associated to that topic, it's, you know, you tend to use it because it helps the reader to identify that this is a book on that thing, or they'll, you know, self-identify that this is a color that they identify with because of whatever association they have. Colors can convey branding, and in this case, I'm talking about your own branding. So if you have a business of some sort, or, you know, political party or whatever, it can convey your brand. And for this, I'm going to look at, so these were the first three books we did, and purple and orange are our brand colors. So it's not by any chance that these books are either purple or orange. Now we went and continued to do more books, so then we went off of brand colors, but the first three books were done in brand colors. For nonfiction books, you should only have 2 or 3 colors maximum. fewer colors create a cleaner and more distinct image. Sorry. And you'll see a bunch of books here on stress. And you can see like two colors. This one's three colors, purple, red, and white. So you don't need a lot of colors in nonfiction. So really, you shouldn't have a lot of colors in nonfiction. For fiction, you should have 1 or 2 colors maximum for font. Don't have more than that. And 1 to 3 colors to give a theme. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at some examples. So again, with these young adult vampire romance books, you know, the predominant colors here, and all of them are, there's almost like a black border on them. And then purple, a little bit of purple here. This one's blue and yellow, and this one's red, right? And then the font here is just one color here. This one's got 2, white and yellow, and then just kind of a silver or gray here. So these are clean images, and the colors, you know, although they've got pictures of people here, right? There's just a predominant use of color that gives it a bit of branding and theming. Now, if you were going to do a Western book, you get a very different kind of color theme going on. You get a lot of beige and brown kind of colors for a Western book. So, and if you're doing a children's book, well, then you can do a lot of colors, because it's for kids and they like lots of colors and brightness and stuff. So you can certainly use more colors in a children's book, but if you're doing a particular thing like we saw with the police books, you might still favor a color that shows that. Now, don't just go and pick any colors. Use a color wheel. And what does a color wheel do? A color wheel will help you to pick complementary colors. So you can see here, it's, you know, given 3 different colors, and you can set this to give you 2 or to give you 4. But 3 is generally, you know, the sweet spot. And, you know, you can see these colors work nicely together. If you're just picking random colors, it's not going to have as good a look to it. So your exercise for this lesson is to go to canva.com/colors/color-wheel and pick out 2 to 3 colors for your cover that you'd want to use.
Canva.com.
Canva.com. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. And this is, you know, just kind of an exercise. You may not end up using these colors, but this will give you, you know, a good idea of how to find good colors that work together well. You can also go for colors that contrast, but that's the exercise for today, is to pick out 2 or 3 colors for your cover.